Hi, everybody. So Jess asked me if I would jump on and maybe share a little bit about the bow short training. I got in probably around 11:30 last night. It was well worth the drive. But you are getting me in like bedhead and got my kids off to school and getting my little list done first thing this morning before I go do some stuff I need to do around the house for just our household management. So I have had the honor of seeing Bo now. This is 4 times live. I got to go down to Orlando in April and got to see him on the Friday and the Saturday, and then was able to see him in Cancun, and then had the honor of getting to see him again last night. And I marvel because every time I see him, I pick up something new, and he just truly embodies the culture of this company and is just such a genuine, caring, loving person, and is brilliant on his approach and the way that he interacts with people. So bear with me. I reached out actually to a couple of the other ladies that went to get sort of their feedback on what their takeaways were. So I'm just going to it's only a couple pages worth of notes, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but just some of the things that really stuck out that he talked about was, first of all, personal development, super important. Read books. And he talked about how he used to hate reading and just reading 10 pages a day. And he evolved into not only loving reading, but then becoming an author. But he said a couple interesting things. He said sales give depth to the company, but books give depth to the leaders of the organization. So, you really want to improve who you are so you have more to give to the people that you're working with and that you're helping lead. He recommended the 5 love languages, and he talked about the fact that when you read that and you become more aware of the language that is that person's love language, is that you're going to have a better way of being able to interact with them and meeting them where they are. So that's actually on my next to-do list. I'm still reading You Are a Badass. I haven't finished it. He said that you really need to do the whole dream board because he said you only can get what you picture. He says you will never get what you want. You will only ever get what you picture in your head. And he talked about how Olympic athletes always are sort of, you can see them seeing inside their head exactly how they're going to perform and eventually win. I mean, these are the best athletes of the world. So you need to have a vision in your head and on paper. You got to see what it is that you want. So to make sure you do this, a couple little quotes that he said. Hope is the heartbeat of action, which I thought was just really powerful. This he said every single time, and I love it every single time, and I so believe this. On the other side of everything you don't want to do and you are afraid of is everything you want and that you need. So often we avoid making the phone call, reaching out to people, because it's just as easy not to do it and we're afraid to do it. But if we would just do it, even if we're going to get no's, which is also scary to us, it's going to build up our confidence to keep doing it, because you survive. When people say no to you, it's okay. You survive. You just got to have perspective. You have to have a lot of no's. I have no's all the time, and it's okay. And then just to couple that, one of the things that he said was be kind to people. Like, genuinely, if they're not interested, genuinely be like, okay, it's no big deal. I appreciate you taking a look at it. I appreciate you trying it. I love getting feedback anyways. Because the more kind you are with somebody, the better you're going to leave that no, that no may become your yes a few months later. I can't tell you the number of people who said no to me in the beginning who are now my most loyal customers, and some have signed on and are brand partners. So that's so true. You want to leave those no's in a really good place, because they might just be in a different place a few months down the road or a year down the road. You never know. So I thought that was really powerful. He said when you're working with your team, when you have a team, do it with them. Like, don't tell them to go make a dream board. Invite them over. Do it with them. Don't tell them to make a list. Sit down with them and say, okay, let's talk about your list. Who can we put on there? Who do you know? Be there with them, because that's how you build trust with the people you're working with. He talked about building a good business, and he did some numbers, and this was the first time he had done something like this. He said, you really want to help people so that they're making $25 an hour. He said, there's some magic numbers to pay attention to. And so, that means whatever the number of hours you're putting in a week, you want that person making about $25 an hour, if not more. And that would equate to about $400 a month. So, and I will say, on a busy week for me, I probably put 10 to 15 hours into this business on a busy week. On a not so busy week, maybe 7 to 8 hours. So, that has made it more than worth my while. So, something I feel like just to think about as far as numbers are concerned. He is a real big believer in sharing your business 15 times a month. And he says that means if you have a real results party and 5 people show up, that's still only one exposure. That's just sharing it only one time. If you have a sit down one-on-one with somebody, that's one exposure. If you go to a market party, that's one exposure. He says that sharing your business, sampling 15 times a month, that if you do that for 24 consecutive months, and he says, so if you miss a month, you start over. It's going to be 24 consecutive months, 15 exposures. He's like, you will be shocked at what happens with your business. So that is I thought that was interesting. Like, he's like, it's systematic, like, as far as the numbers are concerned, for you to be successful. He said, with people who you are working with, if you happen to have a big organization and you haven't heard from some of your people for like a long time, and you haven't reached out to them, maybe just reach out to them, because sometimes they want to reach out to you, but they're afraid to because they're embarrassed because they haven't been doing stuff. Just reach out to them. Be kind. Say, hey, I miss you. Can we sit down and have some coffee? Just want to check in with you, see how you're doing. And then you can fill them in on the business, but just check in with them. Like, these are people that you wanted to do this venture with. Just double back with them. Take a few minutes to do that. I'm almost done. I actually put this in my notes when I had gone to the NLA in Orlando, but he has this whole system of how to kind of approach people about the business, and using the words, he's like, there's a bunch of one-liners. I might have a solution, and if they're not interested, no big deal. Those are 2 of the big things that you're going to say. But to basically approach people saying, hey, I got a business project I'm working on or I'm putting together, and I think I found a way that we can make some money together. Let me know if you're interested or if this sounds interesting to you. If not, no big deal. So I actually had already put those in the notes. I don't mind resharing those, because I was very thorough in kind of how he approaches people. And to do it 20 times. He says it's going to feel really uncomfortable. Keep doing it. Or even get comfortable just approaching people and saying, can you help me? Show me, can you tell me how to get to such and such place? Like, ask for directions. He said just even starting there is a starting point, and then eventually you can move into the, hey, wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for somebody, I don't know, that's a go-getter type. He has this whole approach, and then having your business card, not giving it to them, but say, hey, do you know anybody like that? And if they say, yeah, I might be interested, then say, put your name and number on this card, and I'll call, when I have time, because I got to get going right now, I will give you a call. So he has this amazing approach to how to introduce new people you don't know. And I think that's basically it in a nutshell. Those were the big ones that I thought were amazing. But when he is doing training calls, guys, get on. He's so good and he's so genuine that he really has this ability to attract people to him. And again, I think we attract what it is that we put out. So he is the epitome of that. So I hope everybody has a great day. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, ask in the feed or on the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them, or some of the other people that will be able to. Have a good day.